Hey friends, it's Bill McDonald, the Writing Doctor, and with Easter only 1 week away, I wanted to do an activity with your students that you can show them through Facebook or YouTube by giving them the link, uh, copying, pasting the link as a text or as an email to them or their parents, and answering some questions for a little contest that I want to have between your students. So I want you to notice that this Easter egg basket is blue. So in my graphic organizer, blue is usually reason 1 and green is reason 2. Let me show that to you real quick. Here it is. It has red at the top where the students think of Wonder Woman as the 2 questions they need to ask. WW, Wonder Woman, what is the purpose? Expository. And we're going to call this activity today EGGSplain and EGGSplode. The other W is what is the prompt? What they're asking is what is the topic about? And the one I'm going to use is from last year and a student's essay, One Important Invention. I gave the student a 2, and let me briefly show you the main ideas of what the student wrote about. The invention that they chose was their phone, the idea. And so you see I cross off one eyeball. There's not really a hook, so I cross it off. So for each reason or each example, I write under one color. Well, the only things that I want to keep here and put into the blue basket is this blue train that your iPhone helps you with stuff. That's a little bit too vague, but the student does get more specific by saying that if you're working on school stuff, the calculator helps you with math problems. Well, I thought to myself, Google has a lot of information was a separate idea that wasn't connected to math problems, so we're going to keep that and we're going to move that yellow over into the area of helping with math problems, where sometimes the math problems are a little bit too hard. So in my graphic organizer, the folder, we have ARM for revise. And think of ARM as add, remove, replace, or move. So think of these colors, all right? Green is going to be add. So what we're going to try and do our best with, these blue eggs are going to be the ideas that are already there. The red eggs are going to be things that we would remove, and we would replace them green with the 6 W's plus 1, who, what, when, where, why, which, how, and we're going to try and explode them with voice and vocabulary using the acronym TOES. And so as you can see here, the student, besides saying that the phone is going to help with the calculator, with Google, games, we're going to remove games, so it would be a red egg that we would take out. They're going to take out the YouTube with games. We're going to take out Chrome and the game settings. So there's a lot of information about games, but I'm going to show you that even though I chose the one that had the least amount of development, with the proper guidance and direction, your students can EGGSplain and EGGSplode one idea. Okay? The student did saying that they were cool and amazing, so I would suggest, since I mentioned that there was no hook, that the ideas that the student wrote here at the end, all in all, my cool, amazing iPhone does all this stuff, repetition, run on, that's contraction, why I picked it. Okay? So when we're done giving the feedback, you're going to notice that we think of ourselves as doctors, and Bugs Bunny says, "What's up, Doc?" The D of Doc is development, that's revising the content. The organization is also revising. The order of the words, the order of the ideas, how you move them around. And the C of Doc is the conventions, the editing. So I want you to notice that what I did was I went ahead and numbered all the students' lines first. That way, if there's issues, there's mistakes, I can talk to them about them. But I boxed and exploded just the one part in the body that I felt like we could work with. He says, the most important thing I need is my phone because it helps me with lots of stuff. Okay? We're going to try and get rid of things that are off-limit words like stuff. So you can say, what word could best replace stuff? Well, help me with a lot of vital information that I need to learn, period. You might also add a sentence. Because we're at home during this particular season because of the virus, there's a lot of information that my teachers can't help me because they're in their own homes, and my parents have been away from writing and math so long they can't help me either, so I have to rely on my phone to get me information. And all of a sudden we can get into this idea that we're going to keep. To begin with, my phone helps me with school when I need it as a calculator, and that helps me with math problems. So I have the blue helps me with phone, the calculator, and math problems, and then he goes with Google has lots of information. And instead of helping me with games, I'm going to remove the idea about games, red remove, and we're going to keep the part about information, but we're going to remove, imagine that we remove all the other ideas that were about games, and we're only going to add. And so as you notice, I have some blue ones in here, and I have some green ones. So we're going to call these here the green ones. If you look closely, you can see these are more blue. And I bought these at Walmart, but you can also buy them at Dollar Tree. And what I wanted to show you, you can also have your kids go to Dollar Tree or Walmart and buy the real eggs that have confetti inside. And if they buy, the color won't necessarily matter, but every time that you're adding or removing or replacing, whenever you're adding details, then they get to add one egg to their basket, and then they can have a little celebration with their family and record videos of themselves. So here is my feedback. You chose 4 different reasons for liking your phone. Let's develop one using the 5 W's, technically 6 if you count which and how. The calculator, and 1 to support it, Google. Number 1. So you're going to be seeing me adding a green in for each question that I ask. What kind of math problems do you have the most trouble with that require a calculator? So this green one will be placed inside. So I want your students to try and answer that, because each student has problems with different math problems. And usually the problems with math problems are the words in the problems. Kids struggle with reading. Number 2, another green. How do you know when your answers are wrong? Because you're on your own. It's like, how can you check? What can you do with your calculator or with Google to find out how the answers are wrong? And again, this is what we're going to add to what was already there. Okay. Number 3, I went ahead and continued in the organization section. Who? Explain that your parents and siblings are not good at math and can't help you. Okay. And what I also mentioned, that if they do that, he said, well, my teacher tries to help, but they can't be with every student in every single home, so that makes it hard. And so you can talk about that in the where. Since you're at home in your bedroom, your teacher can't come to the rescue. So you would mention that and talk to me about why that's a problem. How come, even though your teacher loves you and cares about your success, how can that be a problem? Next, for the Google, explain how Google can replace your teacher, so to speak, and help you solve problems by looking up formulas, strategies, and sample problems. So what you can say to them is, okay, well, formulas, a little bit more green. Let me find another green one in here. Formulas, strategies, and some sample problems. So what they would want to do is give you an example of certain math formulas that they maybe have forgotten, but they can look up certain strategies or sample problems that you can find, because Google works out pretty much every problem for us. Okay? And then the move that I mentioned was, I think that since there was no hook, let's put cool and amazing at the beginning, or we can leave cool at the end, but then say, one of the most amazing inventions is a cell phone, because we did say that it was just important, and when you give your opinion, that's part of your voice, who you are. So that's what I would recommend. And then the last thing would basically be cups. On lines 1, 2, 3, and 19, the student has a tendency to capitalize phone, and it needs to be phone. So let me show it to you. The P's are above the line when they need to be halfway below the line, and so those become capitalization problems. All right, number 17 on line 17, settings is capitalized. So you want to make sure that you bring those letters down, because even though that's a penmanship issue, you're making it look more like a capitalization issue because you're making those first letters so large. There was also an issue on line 10 with YouTube. Line 20, Y capital needs to become Y lowercase. And we already mentioned settings, so I won't have to mention it twice. Okay. There weren't too many usage issues, but with punctuation, on line 20, the word stuff needs a period after it. On line 20, since we're starting a sentence, capital that, apostrophe S, punctuation. Line 19, when you say that something has two adjectives, cool, amazing, let me show it to you. Line 19, all in all, my cool, amazing phone, because you have two adjectives describing phone, the way you check if you need a comma or not is if you can say my cool and amazing phone, yes. My amazing and cool phone, yes. So if you can switch the order or add the word and in between, then you know that you can put a comma in between those two consecutive adjectives. Okay? And then spelling, the word invention was misspelled, which is something you don't want to happen, because the word invention, it's on the very last line. They put invention. Since that's actually on the prompt page, you don't want to misspell a word that's actually on the page. So I'd recommend that you write the word invention for your teacher students. The word website on line 11, look and see how they spelled it. There's web and then site the way you see, but site is the S-I-T-E. So go ahead and write that and show it to your teacher. And then sometimes if you see a mistake a lot, you want to try and do a few more examples. Line 13, they put Chrome, but I want to show you how they did it. Chrome, and since Chrome is the first word in the sentence and the name of a company, an organization, you would put a capital. But what I do was I put it wrong, and I want you to see if you can fix that. What is the correct capitalization and spelling of Chrome, because I have one letter that needs to be changed there. And finally, line 8, the word ordinary was misspelled. So how can we fix that? There's ordinary, and it should be ordinary. Alright, and with all of that, I felt like this paper was a 2 and a 2, because when they do talk about inventions, the phone, they do give a list, but they only slightly develop each one. So this activity would be called boxing, or we can say basketing, and EGGSplaining and EGGSploding. So all the blue ones were what was there already, and the green ones would be the ones that we would add, so we could turn this 2 into a 3, or possibly a 4. One way to have a stronger ending, something that you might ask, is how is life going to be better or different in a positive way if you're able to use this iPhone of yours to be able to help you with math problems? How can that change your future? What are some things that require your knowledge of math as an adult? And that way you can talk about a heart and what I call a heart and a head connection. The heart has to do with your feelings and emotions, and your head is your thoughts and your opinions. And that's the toes part of that train that I was showing you. Basically your thoughts, addressing the topic, but share your thoughts, share your opinions, share your emotions, your senses. Let the reader see, hear, feel, taste, and touch. What might you say to your phone as you're talking to Google? What might you speak into your speaker so you can find the formulas that you're looking for? So that's what toes is. There's a saying that says life, don't judge a person till you've walked a mile in their shoes. Well, inside their shoes are people's toes, and your toes is your voice, and that's on the advanced folder. It has a few more, like transitions and some other things. There's one for salsa under the S. I call the salsa the high vocabulary and the figurative language that you can add appropriate, which will add a little bit of voice. But we're not trying to take this paper all the way to 4 land. I'm just trying to make sure that a 2 can turn to a 3 by asking some of the W's. So if you students can answer some of those questions that I asked in the video in complete sentences and add them to the blue that was already there, this paper would definitely get a 3. And perhaps on the way you write it, you could move it to a 4. Happy Easter, early Easter to all of you. I suggest that you teachers do this with each of your kids. See if you can get them to EGGSplode their papers this special Easter holiday. God bless you guys.